What's up, guys? So welcome to True Crime Tuesday, where every Tuesday I'm going to be sharing with you guys a true crime story that, just the ones that stick, I just can't forget about. This one, I kind of forgot. I wasn't sure what story I was going to do today, and I was going through this podcast I listened to, My Favorite Murdered, a really good podcast. Check them out. And I was going back through it, and as I was listening to some of the story, I instantly remembered, and I was like, this is the one. So sit back, relax, lock your fucking doors, and let's get into it. So this takes place in Houston, Texas. It's April 15th, 1995. A girl named Jennifer Morey. She, just moved into these apartments, right? She wants to be safe. She's a young, beautiful woman. We gotta be safe. We gotta take precaution. So she made sure she looked into the place where she was going to live. She made sure it was safe. It was gated. It had Pinkerton security. Am I saying that right? Pinkerton security. And apparently back then, that was top notch. You got that security, okay, your community is safe, supposedly. Anyways, so yeah, she did what she had, she did what she could possibly do. I can't talk. Anyways, so yeah, she moves into this place, right? And one night she decides to go out with her friends. She goes out with her friends to an ale house, and she goes probably around 8 o'clock, and she has a good time, she's with her friends, she's enjoying herself. Some guy that she met that night drove her home, and she probably got home around 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock, she's, being a good girl. She washes her face, does what she gotta do, and then she goes to bed. She wakes up it's probably around 4 o'clock, and she's basically in a deep sleep at this point, and she's not sure if she's dreaming or not, but she could feel somebody on top of her. And she's just like, what the fuck, what's going on? What? And she finally comes to, and when she comes to, because she feels like this person's trying to pull her underwear off, she just feels hella pressure on her body. And then as second as she comes to, she's like, someone's trying to rape me. And this guy is just on top of her. He has a fucking knife. First off, how scary. You wake up and there's just a fucking man on top of you. Okay. So she's fighting this guy, right? She's just yelling. She's yelling at him, please stop, don't do this. And he just has his knife, and it's just it's going everywhere. And she's fighting this guy. She's just fight or flight, and she's fighting, And at some point, the knife is just going everywhere, and he fucking catches a gash in her face. It goes near her eye, somewhere right here in this area of the face. And there's just she just feels a warm pool of blood. There's just blood's fucking squirting out, just blood everywhere. It's just a fucking mess. And she's just yelling this whole time, she's just putting up a fight, as you should, as anybody fucking would, And at one point he's yelling at her. He's saying, Jennifer, shut the hell up. He's calling her by her name. She hears this. She's like, okay, I know this person, but she doesn't recognize his voice. She doesn't recognize the voice. And then at one point while they're fighting, he loses the knife. So she runs. She crawls to the bathroom and shuts that shit shut. Well, her bathroom door doesn't have a lock, so she basically has to like crawl. She gets down on her back and she like presses up against the door and she like puts her feet on the tub so she could like, jam that bitch with her body. And so as she's doing that, it's just quiet. It's super quiet and she's like not sure what's going on. But as she's listening, she could hear him like rustling through her apartment, right? He's like grabbing things, putting his pants on, whatever. She hears him zip up his pants. And then it's quiet. So she's fucking scared. She's fucking bleeding out. Oh, wait, how could I forget this part? In the middle of fighting, not only did he cut her face, while they're still going at it, how did I forget this part? He slit her throat. It went from her ear to like the middle of her throat, and he fucked her up good. He fucked her up real good. So there's just so much blood this girl's losing. So she's in the bathroom at this point, bleeding so much. She's sitting there, and I believe at one point she said she even laughed because she's like, damn. So this guy left, and I'm just gonna die here now because I'm bleeding out. And she's bleeding out so much that she can't even open the door because her hands are just so bloody. And good thing though, when she was in there, she had grabbed some toilet paper and she had put pressure against her throat to help. But she couldn't open the door. She couldn't open the door because when she was jamming it with her, holding it, that it had like fucked up the door at the bottom and she couldn't open it. And she's just pulling. She's yelling and yelling. Nothing happens. She finally opens the door, right? Finally gets it open, but she doesn't know. She doesn't know if he's in the apartment still. She doesn't know. She goes to turn on her lights. And the fucking lights are out. She's like, did I forget to pay the bill? No, she goes to check her phone. The phone line is cut. So thankfully, cell phones were a thing at this time. She got her cell phone. She goes back into the bathroom. She doesn't know if he's in there. She's pretty sure at this point he's not. She goes in the bathroom and she calls 911. This man, Richard Everett, just starts his shift for the night, morning, whatever. And he's talking to Jennifer. She tells him, like, some man has came into her home. She doesn't understand how. She remembers locking the door. He cut her throat. She's just like, why do people do, like, she's like, why she's just like so upset and frantic, and Richard's just on the phone the whole time, like keeping her calm, telling her it's gonna be okay, just breathe, the police are gonna come. And while she's on the phone with him, she hears a knock on the door, and it's the security, and the security guy is like, hey, like, I see there's blood out here. I just got attacked. Some guy just came from your balcony. He ran off into the woods. Are you okay? He's like being really nice, but he's being super persistent about her letting him in. And she tells the dispatch on the phone, like, hey, the security's here. Like, he wants me to let him in. And he's like, well, can you see through the peephole? She can't, 'cause she doesn't have her contacts in. And she wants to let him in, but like Richard had this gut feeling, and he was like, no, you shouldn't let him in. Just hold off as long as you can till the police get there. So she's just telling the guy, like, it's fine, like the police are coming. And the security on the other side is like, no, I should really help you. Like, he's just being really persistent. And finally, Richard's talking to her, like, time goes by so slowly, but I'm sure she thought, so many thoughts probably running through this girl's head. I sure as hell don't know. I can't relate. But soon enough, the police thankfully arrive. So the police arrive, they're knocking, and Richard's like, yes, that is them. Oh, it's okay to open the door. And so she's like, she basically falls to the ground as she opens the door, and as she's listening to the police talk, apparently, like, yeah, they're hearing she's hearing how they're saying that the security guard got attacked as well. And she's just like, damn, like, all this shit is happening tonight. And she goes to the hospital, and later she finds out the police are, you know, going through her house, finding evidence and stuff. So when they go in her house, they find a few items. They find the knife, they find underwear, and they find a Pinkerton hat. They find a fucking Pinkerton hat, security hat. So they're like talking to the security, you know, and they're like, what happened? He tells them like, yeah, the guy ran off that way. Thought it was really weird because they didn't see no trail of blood leading anywhere. And this guy, literally, they had him take his shoes off. His shoes were bloody. They had him lift his shirt up. He didn't want to at first. When they did, he had blood all over his torso, and he had no underwear on. So I'm sure you guys can tell by now, it was the fucking security guard that had broke into her fucking house. He apparently had shaved down there, TMI, but you know, a lot of all these stories are TMI. But anyways, so you know, he shaves down there, so obviously he wouldn't get caught, no evidence left behind. And you know, the whole reason why he went back was he was gonna kill her. All his shit was still in there. He was either gonna grab the shit. He couldn't have grabbed the shit without her noticing. He was gonna kill the girl. He was gonna kill the girl, and if it wasn't for Richard telling her not to open it, guarantee that girl would have been dead to this day. So, yeah, that is. Oh, let me tell you what happens to this guy. He basically gets 20 years for attempted rape, assault, and attempted murder. Which I don't get why attempted murder isn't still charged as murder. Do you get what I mean? Like, just because she fought so fucking hard, he gets off easier. Like, he was trying to kill her, but he didn't pull through. He didn't succeed. So they're like, okay, you get attempted murder. Like, I think that's so bullshit. Like, he tried to kill her. That was his goal. He should go to jail for fucking murder. Like, I don't care. Like, the system, there's no justice system. He's already out on probation. He got 20 years out on probation. So this guy is still on the fucking streets somewhere. And I just feel like these people, once they're on the street, it's like, I feel like they're bound to do it again. And as sickening as that is, I hope not, but I can only imagine how Jennifer feels. And she's just so thankful that she had talked to that dispatcher on the phone. That she said that he really helped her. And the part that got me, I was like, oh my God. She said that they're still friends to this day, and that he even went to her wedding. Oh my God, really? So yeah, that is the story of Jennifer Morey got attacked in her apartment. And I didn't want to put survival on the title because that just gives it away. But yeah, obviously she survived, and I love hearing these types of stories because you get to hear it firsthand from her. If you could watch, it's on I Survived. You could hear her say it, which I highly recommend. Even though you just heard, you know, it's so different hearing it from the person's first point of view. But yeah, fucking crazy. It just so crazy. You know, she thought she was in a safe spot, and that motherfucker obviously had the keys or something, you know. So be safe, guys. Still lock your doors. Don't trust just anybody. Oh, you know what? And then you know what's crazy? I almost forgot. So, a little detail. So she said that she had later found out that 15 fucking people woke up to her screaming and nobody called the cops. 15 people. Imagine you're sleeping and then you get woken up at 4 a.m. from a girl screaming on the top of her lungs. Mind you, you're in a nice gated community, right? So it's not like, I mean, even if you weren't, if you hear that, like, that's not normal. And so it's like, what do? You just like sit and wait, and you're like, oh, hopefully they're okay. Hopefully somebody else calls cops. No, just fucking call the cops. It doesn't matter if somebody else, if you're not sure, just fucking do it, because you don't know what that can lead to. You don't know. Anyways, thank God she's alive. But 15 people, like, are you serious? God, humans. Well, I hope you guys enjoy this True Crime Tuesday. Come back for next Tuesday for another crazy story. Be safe, guys. Bye.